Hi, I'm Tanya Hightower.
Dyon.
All right, Dyon, it's nice to meet you.
You too.
All right, before we get started, let's go over confidentiality. You signed the confidentiality consent, and then I also want to explain to you that this is confidential, and that only way that I would be able to say something regarding this session and the sessions to come is if you were harming yourself, or if you had plans to harm someone else, or if someone wanted to harm you.
Okay.
And so, and then of course, if it's something regarding a child abuse, you also break the confidentiality. But other than that, the confidentiality stays in here.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, great. So now, tell me why you're here today.
I believe that I have some issues that may be retracted back to my younger childhood that have made me kind of angry, kind of irritable, I guess you could say. Like, I get angry really easily, and things get blown out of proportion sometimes, and I know it's mostly me for the most part. And so I think that's basically why I'm here, just to try to find the root of that and just try to change and be better.
Well, tell me when do you feel that you get angry?
It could be honestly anything. Anything that doesn't necessarily go my way, or something that I don't agree with, or something that I get maybe defensive about. It'll really upset me. I'll get really, really angry behind it. And I know most of the time it's not as big of a deal as I think it is, but at the time it's a very, very big deal to me.
Okay. Tell me about your relationship with your parents.
When I was 11 years old, my biological mother passed away, and then I went to live with an aunt and uncle of mine, and then that was a very, very hostile situation, and we actually got taken away from them, and now I live with and was adopted by another aunt and uncle of mine, and so that's where I live now with my aunt.
Okay. Tell me about what was going on in the house, or do you think anything was going on in the house that may have an effect to why you're angry?
Well, after my mom passed away, we had to move in with the aunt and uncle that I was speaking about. It was a really it was a pretty hostile environment. Everything was fine for the first month or so, and then after that it got real. We saw what was really going on. My uncle and my aunt, my uncle would hit her and beat her and all those things. There was also drugs involved in the house, that, in front of us, and there was me and my two sisters, and then also they had 3 children of their own. So there were 6 kids in the house, and I was the oldest of everyone. So yeah, it was a really scary thing. I was 11 or 12 at the time, so the youngest kid had to be the youngest one was actually in diapers. It wasn't my sister; it was my cousin. But yeah, she was actually in diapers. So that just shows the range of the ages that we were. But yeah, it was a pretty scary environment. He would beat her in front of us. We'd be watching, and he would just do that. And so that was really scary for us. And I would have to console everybody and try to let everybody know we're gonna be fine. He's not gonna hurt us. Because he never hurt us or anything. It was just her in front of us.
Okay. So tell me how that made you feel when you saw that they were in this so-called domestic violence situation.
It was really scary because we never knew when it would happen. He would go to work and everything would be fine, and he'd come back and it would be crazy. He would just be yelling and screaming, and then he would start putting his hands on her, and we would just be sitting there watching. We'd be all afraid, we'd be crying and stuff, but we were just sitting there, we would watch.
Okay. Well, so if I'm hearing you're saying that you were raised in a so to speak domestic violence situation.
Yeah, for that time of my life, and that lasted for a while too. It was probably about a year that lasted, that we were there before we got removed from that household.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this: did you ever feel that you were angry with them while during this time?
Definitely, because I didn't. Now I know, and then I guess I knew too that like he wasn't gonna hurt us, but like in the back of my mind I'm like, if he could do this to her, like he could do this to me or my sisters or his own children. So that was a really scary thing. Like he never did or anything, but just the thought that could happen, like he could turn on us and it could be one of us with the black eye or something like that walking down the street. Like yeah, I was really upset about that, and I didn't like it.
Okay. So now let me ask you this. Okay, that was your adopted family, right?
They didn't adopt us or anything. We just moved with them after.
Okay.
Yeah, after
Well, let me ask you this: what your parents? What relationship did you have with? Tell me how your relationship was with your biological mom before she passed.
Me and my biological mother and my sisters, like we had a very, very good relationship. Like she tried, and she had me very young. She had me at 19, so she was a really young mom, and she like busted her butt to do what she could for us. And we didn't have everything we wanted, but we had what we needed. We had clothes, we had food, we had a house to live in. So we had what we needed. So she was a great mom.
Okay. So, you say your mom was a great mom. What about your relationship with your biological father?
He was in and out of our lives. He was in and out of prison a lot. He really in and out. We would see him a couple times during a month. He would be there for like 3 months or so, and then he would go back to jail. And then he would get out and he'd come back and he'd be there, and then he'd go back to jail. So it was really in and out type of thing. Like, and he was not as good as my mom. Like he was more about like living his glory days, I would say, than raising his children. So yeah.
Okay. Well, how did you feel when your mom passed away?
I didn't understand it because I was so young, or I was 11. So like I didn't understand it, and I was thinking just like, why did this happen to us? Like we're kids. Like why we need our mom? Like why did she leave us? Like that's kind of how I felt from it. Like why would she leave us? You know.
Did you feel any other type of way? Because you mentioned that you have a anger problem. So did you feel angry because she left?
I would say I was angry. I know, like, because it was just like, since I didn't understand, it was like, how dare you? Like, how dare you leave us when we're growing? We still need you. We still need our mom. So I would say I was, or probably maybe still am. I would say angry is a good word for that.
Okay. Well, now let's go to this. Tell me what triggers your anger when and we're coming up to date now. What triggers your anger?
It's usually when things like if I was to say something and then if someone disagrees with it, like that can get me angry. That can make me like, it just makes me angry. I don't like to be thought wrong or disagreed with, and I like just having my pride. Like I think it's a pride thing also. Like when someone is like, no, you're wrong. Like I don't like that.
So now, how do you deal with it?
I usually get honestly, I get pretty upset, and it can go from like a little small fight into something that's like huge. And I know because I have many relationships. Obviously, I have like a relationship with my boyfriend. I have my adopted mother. Like I come in contact with a lot of people, and I do have to deal with this different ways sometimes, but I don't always deal with it the correct way. Like an argument can be a major thing for me, and for someone else, like I've talked to them and they're like, it wasn't that big of a deal to me. So like that's my issue. Like things for me are just really, everything's a big deal, I guess, for me, until I like sit down and I think, I'm like, okay, maybe it wasn't that big of a deal. But at the time, yeah, that was a big deal to me. And then like my boyfriend, for example, like we'll get into an argument, and to me, like I'll be saying my points and I'll be like, no, this is how I feel, blah blah blah, and he's just like, it's okay, like I understand what you're saying, but it's not as big of a deal as you're making it. And I'm like, yes, it is. Like, to me, it's so big. And he's just like, no, it's not. It's not that big of a deal. Like, calm down.
So, well, when was the last time you had an argument? Or who was the argument with?
I would probably say my boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, the last one maybe like 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't even anything big either. I think, sometimes I don't even remember what we were arguing about. Like, that's what kind of stuff it is. Like, it's just the smallest things, and to me, it turns into a big thing. Because my boyfriend's really, like, he's kind of quiet, and I'm the opposite of that. Like, I like to talk, I like to do that kind of stuff. And when he doesn't, like, talk to me, or when he's in his little quiet mode sometimes, that gets me angry. Like, I'm just like, why aren't you talking to me? What are you doing that you can't talk to me? Blah, blah, blah. And, like, that's pretty much a lot of our arguments are about. Like, because that's just who he is as a person, and I'm a different type of person, so I don't understand, like, where he's coming from. Like, well, why aren't you talking? I'm talking. Like, you should be talking too. Like, so that's how it usually goes. Like, something so small, and then it just turns into a huge thing.
So what do you do, or what would you like to do to channel your anger in the future?
I know after we have an argument and I sit back and I think and I'm just like, okay, it wasn't that big of a deal. He told me that there's nothing wrong with him. He just doesn't have very much to say at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just need to be more understanding of that. Like, it's not anything negative towards me. It's just what's going on. I just need to understand that and be more understanding of his feelings and how he feels and how anyone feels, really.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be able to be okay with it and not get mad about it or get upset about it.
So if I'm hearing you right, well, let's go back. You have an anger problem, and you were angry when your biological mother passed away. You were angry because of the relatives that you stayed with. Because of the domestic violence. You were angry because your dad was in and out of your life, and even now today, little things that you and your boyfriend get into it, you kind of get angry also. Now, so what I want to do is to find out what makes you angry, or what do you think makes you angry?
Yeah. Just when things aren't going the way I want them, or the way I see them in my mind. Like, when things go off track, that's whenever I guess I get uncomfortable, and I handle it the way that just pops in my head, and that's, well, why isn't it going the way I want to, and I just get angry. Like, I think it's just, maybe it's a control issue. Like, I just like things to go my way, and like, things are not always going to go my way, so yeah, like, I think that's what it is, just control.
Okay. Now, since you brought that up about the control issue, just let's go back. Let's do this exercise. Constructive, and where I'm going to ask you, when you between the ages of 4 and 8, what did your mom tell you that? And so to speak, not to do, don't do.
Okay.
Is it something that you could remember that she told you not to do? Or don't do?
My mom was really, like I say, she was a great mother and all that stuff, but she wasn't perfect. Like, she had her flaws, and like, I do remember being young, and my mom would be like, Dyon, go and fix something for your sisters to eat, or go heat up the food for them, or go clean up the room, or go do the dishes, or go. Like, I wasn't really allowed, since I was the oldest, I was the one who was kind of like the second mom. Like, I had to make sure, like, I would set the alarm at night to wake up for school. I would have to do all that. I'd have to, my mom would be there, of course, but I would be like, okay guys, let's get dressed for school. Like, that would be me a lot, because, like, I don't know, that's just how it was. Like, my mom would just tell me to do those things, and I didn't think I would just get up and do it. That's just what I would do. And so, like, I didn't really get to play as much. Like, my sister would be over there playing, and I'd be, like, cooking up their food in the microwave or something, or, like, those kind of things.
So, well, how did that make you feel doing those things?
Well, at the time, I just feel like I just did it because it was my mom and she told me to do it. But now looking back, like, I wish I would have been able to be a kid more. Like, I wish I would have been able to, like, you fix my food more. Like, those kind of things.
Yeah. Now, so what I'm hearing is, what I'm sensing is that you kind of almost took on the role of the mother.
Yeah.
And so, and in taking on the role of a mother, what does the mother
take care of and control the household, basically. And it wasn't even just when I was younger either, because like I said, like whenever my mom did pass away and we went to live with my relatives, like I was still the oldest then. Like I would still have to corral and there were 6 of us. I would still have to like bring everybody and like put everybody down, like all those things. So it was just like I feel like I had to grow up pretty fast because of the situations.
Okay. So now what that seems like to me is that because you said that you pretty much felt that you had to grow up pretty fast, taking on the role as the mother, pretty much to say, as being the oldest, then a person that's in that position is pretty much has to take control and pretty much
like that's all I knew.
Right, that's all you knew. So now, what does that sound like now, up to date?
Yeah, that makes sense now, because that is like when I do get angry, it's because of that, because I'm not in control or I'm not the one necessarily like making the plans. Like things aren't going the way I want them to. So yeah, that adds up, like, because that's how it was when I was a child too.
Okay. So what do you think you can do, and maybe setting some goals, what do you think you can do to channel that anger and to also not to take that role in being in control all the time? What do you think you can do? What steps you think you can take to do that?
I can just be more understanding of the fact that everything isn't always going to go my way, you know, because like it's life that happens. And then just be more constructive, positively constructive with the way I speak to people, and just come off in a better way than like angrily.
Okay. What goals would you set in order to do that? Well, let me just ask you this before we jump to that. What would you like to be doing in the next 2 or 3 years from now?
Well, I want to go to school to like a trade school. Like now, I want to go to be enrolled in like a trade school or something, get a medical assistant degree. I've been looking into that a lot lately. But my real goal for the next 2 to 3 years, I want to be in school in like for my degree for gynecology and obstetrics, because that's what I want to be doing for my career. So I definitely want to be in school for that while I'm working my job that I got my other degree for.
Okay. So what steps are you going to take in order to do that?
Well, definitely, because I have been calling like schools and things and talking to them about tours and like the benefits and all of the financial aid and all of those things for different schools. And I have a little book over there. I've written everything down in. So I just need to get that taken care of first, and then once I get that taken care of, my next line of school would have to be taken care of too.
Tell me about your relationship with your mom, who you stay with now. I mean,
we have a okay relation. We bump heads a lot because we are polar opposites. Like, like it is insane how different we are. I never say the opposites attract, but not in this case with me and my mom. Like we disagree on pretty much everything. And I like my mom. I have a daughter. She's 1.5 years old. And I'm 19. I had her when I was 18. And my mom, she hasn't really gotten over that. So like, she's really hurt by that still. And like, that's where the root of all, like when we get into it, that's usually what it's about. So like I know my mom loves me. She definitely loves me. She does so much for me and like all those things. But we do have a kind of rocky relationship.
What do you think? I mean, that's her issue.
Yeah.
So, what do you do when you know that's her issue so you won't become angry.
Well, with my mom, I just try to prove to her that I can be a great mother and I can do what I need to do for my daughter, which I try my hardest that I can for my daughter. Like, she's my world. I do everything I can for her. So, like, that's my thing with my mom. Like, when it's arguing with her, like I'm just like, I'm not the person you think I am. Like, I'm gonna do what I need to do for her. So that's how it is.
So let me ask you this then. Why do you think you have to prove? Because I heard you say that. You said you had to prove something. Why do you think you have to prove to her?
Because just the way she is, like, since she is still hurt about that, like, she's still, like, everything that I do is, like, wrong. Like, she's literally said that before, like, no, like, you don't know what you're doing. You're a kid. You don't know what you're doing. And I feel like I just have to prove to her, like, yes, I can do it. Like, don't tell me that I can't, because I know I can.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me angry that she would, it makes me angry that she would say those things, because I know she sees how, like, hard I try to do what I can and everything, and she doesn't admit it. Like, I don't think she will ever admit it, like, ever in her lifetime, just because she's so upset by that fact that that happened.
Yeah. Well,
but I love my mom, and I know she loves me. It's just, we'll never see eye to eye on that subject, ever.
Well, I mean, you know, no one controlling can control anyone else.
Yeah.
And
and that's another thing too. Like, I guess that's something that I got from her, because she's so controlling. Like, I think I'm controlling. Like, my mom is the queen of controlling. If things don't go her way, like, it's her way or nothing. Like, there is no compromise, like, at all. Like, so yeah.
So what I'm hearing is, you know, you have a anger issue, but it's mostly when you don't get your way, which is a controlling issue.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? What steps are you going to take? And these are goals in order to channel the anger and the controlling. I mean, what immediate steps? I know that your plan is to go to school and to and to take care of your daughter, but what immediate plan or steps do you plan on taking in order to channel that anger into a positive?
I think I can just be more hands off. Like, if something is going to happen, I should just let it happen and not try to change the outcome. Because that is a big thing. Just instead of wanting things to go A, B, C, I could just let it just happen any way that it wants to happen. And just go with it instead of trying to control the situation.
I heard you say that, you know, with your boyfriend, that, you know, he is a certain way and you're a certain way, and so what you've learned in the relationship with him is that you can't change him.
Yeah, he is who he is. So I just have to accept that and love him. You know.
But what would you do for yourself?
Just understand that that's who he is, and just.
But here's what I want you to understand is I know you need to understand the way he is, and we can't change other people, but we can change ourselves. So what steps would you take to change yourself so you can feel better about yourself in the relationship?
Yeah.
Because he's going to be who he is.
Yeah. Just be less controlling. Try less to control situations, I guess.
Did I hear you say something earlier about listening more?
Yeah. Yes, definitely listening more, hearing what he has to say, and in regards to what I'm saying. Like, because when we argue, like, it's just I'll be saying something and then he'll try saying, and I'll be like, no, like I'm talking, like that's I know that's what I do. Like I'm just like, let me say what I have to say. Maybe I just need to like let him talk, let him tell me what he's thinking, and then that could maybe save an argument because I'll be like, okay, I didn't know that's how you felt. Then we can move forward like that.
Okay. So you're saying that you would listen more, take a step back, and did I hear you say think? Did you say something?
Think about what I'm saying, I guess, instead of just letting things come out. Just think about it and just mostly the listening, because I know that like when I'm arguing, like I know I can see it now. That's how I am. Like I'm just like, I'm talking. Let me talk and let me tell you what I'm thinking. Like I don't really listen to what his side is, and so that's a big thing. Like I need to hear what he's saying. So I just need to like listen to him more and see like where he's coming from, where his side of the issue.
Okay.
Because that could save the whole argument too. Like.
Right. Well, here's what I would like for you to do. But let me just summarize first. We've come to the conclusion that you do have an anger problem. The anger problem is because you can't have your way most of the time, which also is a controlling problem.
Yeah.
And so and what the steps that you want to take in channeling that anger and that controlling is to step back and think more, listen to the other person's side, and what maybe come to a compromise.
Yes, a better compromise that will benefit both people.
Okay. I have this exercise. What I want you to work on is called anger diary, and what the steps it has, and you the times that you feel that you want to get angry. The date, what is triggering the anger, the emotions that you're feeling from the anger, your body sensations, the thoughts that you have when you feel that you're angry, and then the behavior. How did you react when the anger came, and then the consequences.
Okay.
And I want you to keep this diary, and whenever your anger comes up, then you go and just start writing.
Okay.
You know, and writing the way you're feeling, and your thoughts and your behavior and what triggered it.
Yeah.
And go back and think about, you know, what started the anger.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
And so I want you to take this, and I want you to fill that out.
Okay.
And so today we've come to the conclusion that, in summarizing, that you do have an anger problem, you do have a controlling problem. Some of it may have came from when you was small, and your mother was putting you in the position of being the nurturer, of being the person in charge, because you are the older sister, and you always had to do this, and you really didn't at the time didn't think about it, but you really missed the childhood. From being in control and from being the oldest sister and taking on the leadership role. And so now that has come into your adulthood, where you're now being in control when things don't go your way. You can't be in control, or you get angry when you're in your relationships because things don't go your way. And so now you have recognized that when these situations come up, you're going to step back, you're going to listen more, you're going to think about it, and then you're going to consider if it allows to be compromised, or if not, and then you say you'll step back and you'll think about it more. And so, and then I've given you the exercise here where we can write it down when these situations come to play. And so, with that said, we're going to go ahead, and I think maybe we should maybe see each other again in order to, if that's okay with you,
definitely.
In order to just see where things are. I'll give you my number, and you can call me and set up appointment, or we can set up an appointment now,
Okay.
for maybe 2 or 3 months and see how things have gone, and with your anger, and see how far you have progressed.
Okay.
And so, what we'll do is I'll give you my number, and then we can call for appointment, or we can make the appointment, like I said again, we can make the appointment now for a couple months, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Okay, anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so how are you feeling now?
I'm feeling a
about
lot better now that I have, like, in my mindset, I know what I need to do, or what I need to try to do to make it better. So
Okay,
I just
okay.
need to act on that.
You know the goals?
Yes.
What you need, what goals, what was the goal?
For school, I definitely want to start my school.
What
In
goal
the
would you
upcoming-
take, and I just summarize it,
Yeah.
but what goal, I wanna
Listen
hear you
more.
say.
Definitely listen more.
Okay.
Think about it more. Register the entire conversation. Just make
Okay.
sure I'm understanding the other person's point of view completely before I just let my emotions take over.
Okay, all right, great. All right, so it was nice seeing you again, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you in a couple of months, and
All right.
and hear about the progression that you make, and how you're gonna channel that anger.
All right. Sounds
All right,
good.
all right. Take care.